Well, hello, welcome to Adweek Together. I am Jameson Fleming, Adweek's Chief of Staff. Joining us today is Brian Salzman, founder and CEO of RQ Agency, an LA-based relationship agency. Adweek Together is our daily live show where we talk with industry experts about how to get through this unprecedented crisis. Today, we're talking about how small and independent agencies can stay afloat with everything that's going on. So welcome, Brian. Tell us a little bit about yourself to kick us off.
Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me, and even to Adweek for giving us the small agencies a platform to share our point of view and stick together. I started RQ about 5 years ago with a business partner. We are 35, 40 people strong here in Los Angeles. We are a spin-off of influencer marketing. We help our brand clients focus on influence rather than influencers. And great.
All right. So, what's your agency best known for right now? Who are some of your clients with some of the work that, you're proud of, to just kind of paint us a picture of, who you guys are as an agency?
Yeah, when we started this, we really wanted to make sure we had the biggest impact. So we are really lucky. We work with some of the biggest brands out there, from Samsung to Pizza Hut, Chipotle, YouTube, and we really help them identify not just, again, influencers, but people who have influence. Right now, more than ever, the source of any communication, excuse me, is really important on behalf of a brand. So we really help them identify those right people and then help them internally centralize those relationships so the value can be maximized, whether it be through PR, obviously digital and creating content, but also experiential, how they help drive not only just where to show up, but how to show up. The value of people of influence from a brand perspective can be incredible. So we do work very well with a lot of other small agencies. That's why I'm glad we're here talking about small agencies. But yeah.
All right, so before we kind of go into the atmosphere at small agencies, let's talk about your agency first. When we talked before this, you talked about how you've been able to maintain a strong culture as everybody is remote and keep up the sense of morale. So, what has your agency been doing to build that sense of morale? And then what have you heard from the community of, what other agencies are doing?
Yeah, when we started RQ about 5 years ago, one of our number one pillars in creating the agency with my partner, Caroline, was that culture. I mean, I've worked in entertainment and finance, and it was really important for both of us that we create an atmosphere that we wanted to go to work every day. So we wanted to surround ourselves with really smart people who inspired us to do the best work. So it's always been an important pillar in our growth. We do everything from offsites to weekly happy hours to showcasing the talent of different individuals. For a while, we were bringing your parents to work and having a cooking class with different people's moms and dads. So it always has been important. I think with the shift from to digital and work from home, it was really important that we didn't stop that. So we are taking advantage of every digital platform, whether it be Hangout or Zoom, and we continue that. I think it's important for our teams as well as our clients to show that we are as business as usual as much as we possibly can. And I think more than ever, that culture of family has been really critical to just our mental well-being, as well as the output of work. It still continues to be phenomenal. And I see most of my colleagues in other agencies, as well as big holding companies, they are really kind of steadfast in remaining to activate that culture, those culture building things. So what's unique, I think, about RQ also is that we aren't just a bunch of marketing creatives or marketing experts. We have some really phenomenal team members from music, from fashion, from sports. So really giving them a taste of what marketing is known for in terms of our culture and the family building that we're kind of known for has been really exciting.
Yeah, it's great. So, we've seen a lot of headlines of agency leaders either taking pay cuts or foregoing their salaries altogether during this time. So, what else can agency leaders be doing to be more empathetic to their employees during this, really tough time?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really crazy ride. I think we're in day 40 of quarantine here in Los Angeles, at least. Um, I think just the empathetic you mentioned, the empathetic kind of humanity of us. I mean, that comes first before anything. I mean, looking at your team members, also yourself. I mean, one thing that I've been talking to other leaders and executives about is how do we take care of ourselves? I mean, we're focusing so much on making sure that we are there for our team members and their families. It is important that we take care of ourselves, and I think again, just forget it. I mean, the business is important, and I know we're driving, and we are, it's our livelihood, but we really look at every individual. We check in with them. We have one-on-ones with each person, just on a personal level. How you doing? How you holding up? I mean, this is kind of a new normal working from home, and I've seen these four walls for how many days now. But I think, again, that's the humanization of individuals. It also makes us better marketers. I think there's so many webinars about consumer behavior right now and what people are thinking, and the idea that I think I've read that the consumer behavior has changed more drastically in the past 6 weeks than it has in the history of consumerism, because they're filled with anxiety and they're filled with the unknown. And even though fear is something we know as consumers and embracing it, tapping into your own team and having that connection with them really helps you as a leader be a better marketer, and especially for our clients, because we can understand what's going on in their heads.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about your clients. What's been those interactions like so far, with the people that you've worked closely with, your partners? How have they helped you and how have you helped them, over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of talk amongst me and a bunch of other agency friends and colleagues that I have. It's a mixed bag. Listen, some of the clients, we're 5 years old. We've been with some of them for 3 years. We really consider ourselves a partner. Then there are some clients who, when this happened day one, they were like, we're closing down. We have to figure out what we're doing. We don't know how to do it. And they just kind of put us on hold. And I, in a way, think that there's a little irresponsibility there. I mean, it's short-sighted in that what's going to happen in 3-4 months when we have some type of resurgence, and all these small agencies are either out of business or the talent isn't there. And I also think the same way we take care of our employees and our team members, there is a responsibility from a brand perspective. So we've had mixed. I mean, some of our clients, like Chipotle, has just been so great to us as human beings, but their work is phenomenal. Their presence in terms of culture, and that's what we focus on, is how do you be a part of a conversation. I think more than ever, people are connecting human to human, even though it's on the digital platforms, and so being a part of that conversation. So listen, I think brand marketers are trying to figure it out themselves. They don't understand what's going on. And I mean, some of our clients aren't selling product that they used to. So I think I was just having a conversation this morning with our partners at Powell Communications, and is it really the marketers? Is it procurement? I mean, who's making these decisions to treat people? Sorry, there's a garbage truck going by. Part of working from home.
So one of the things I found interesting when I did a story about how agencies are pitching in this new era was Howie Kleinberg, who works for Glow Agency. It's another small agency. He was talking about how nobody rides first class on the subway as kind of a metaphor for all of our working conditions right now. So have you found in talking with clients that, everybody understands we are all dealing with the same issues, and it's really helped, build those bonds better, and it's humanized the process a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that we are seeing where people live. I think that just, you are in my house right now. I've had calls with global CMOs, and I see their kids playing in the background or walking down the staircase. That is that's going to fundamentally change our industry, I think, is that we're getting to know these people at a different level. And I think it's also a time for us, I think, as we get to know them. And we talked earlier about what we're doing to pivot and how to be relevant right now. Um, Being proactive as an agency owner, as an agency team is so critical right now. Listening to what's going on, how people are talking, and being able to make or enable our clients to be smarter at what they do and react faster because they're dealing with the internal politics. And like you said, they're figuring out every day what to do, literally hour by hour. I love it. I think it's literally going to fundamentally change our industry and build these relationships. So I think there's a great opportunity for small agencies to show their value proposition.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, talking a little bit more about clients, through your interactions so far, what's the one thing that you wish they would know right now? If you were going to send a message to every brand out there, what's the one thing that you want them to know and be doing differently right now?
Not, I mean, maybe it's not necessarily different, but I think, like you mentioned earlier, we are partners. And I think every small agency agrees with this. We are really partners. We are the ones who are, not only from a creative perspective and a strategic perspective, we are so passionate about our clients and the work they do. A lot of our clients are purpose driven. That it'd be great to remember that we as partners, as agencies, we are human as well. We are going through this. So vice versa, what we just talked about. Reaching out to say, hey, how are you guys doing? That does mean a lot. And I think it's not writing a check and saying we're going to give you business, but just recognizing that we are going through this as well, and treating agency partners as partners and not just vendors.
Sure. So, we've talked a bit about the good of, how this is bringing us together, but, let's talk about some of the struggles right now. So, what are small agencies like yourself and others really struggling with the most right now to stay afloat?
We're not struggling with anything. It's absolutely perfect. I'm not joking. No, it's a tough time. I think obviously cash flow at this point is probably one of the biggest things as an agency owner, and looking at how do we invest in the future growth of our business. I really believe that, again, small agencies are definitely going to win at the end of this, as we create our new normal. But really focusing on the balance of the humans that you work with, your team members, and making sure they're healthy and happy, but also looking at your cash flow and saying, how are we managing it so we're not blowing all of our money that we have saved for a rainy day and screw ourselves later. So we have a phenomenal CFO that is just a great guidance for us. Also looking at the whole process of the SBA loans. I don't know how many people have gotten it or haven't gotten it, but it's super stressful. We work with a very big bank, and it hasn't been the most cooperative in terms of communication. So there's a big unknown factor there. I think my only advice that I was giving to friends and people have given me is it literally is day by day, and it's looking at like what are we doing today to make sure our work is great, from a leadership perspective, our people are happy, and then see from a financial perspective where are we, what are we cutting, what are we not cutting. We have 2 offices that have an extraordinary rent here in Los Angeles. We have a lot of subscriptions to technology tools. We have phone systems. Looking at like what is essential versus not essential. What can we put on hold versus what should we cancel? There's a lot of decisions like that I never thought I'd have to make. Luckily, I have a phenomenal team that's helping me.
Got it. So, you mentioned that SBA loan, and it's been something that's been a hot topic in the news, and a lot of small agencies weren't able to get one. And I think the latest I saw was Congress is trying to put more money in that fund. But how important is that SBA loan right now to so many small agencies? Is it something they need for 2 months, for 5 months? Does it depend? What is your kind of gut feeling on how critical that loan is for everybody?
Yeah, I think it's different for each person, each team. I would say it's pretty critical. And really the goal of the SBO, and I did just put more money in it. So I think that was approved yesterday from Congress, and I, it's so critical in that it's just a bridge. I mean, as brands and clients figure out what to do next, and they're figuring out from a marketing perspective, a sales perspective, procurement, all that stuff, being able to sustain your team is really important. I mean, again, like I said, mentioned earlier, that like having them positive and working for when this starts up again is going to be incremental to our industry. I mean, all of these small agencies just all of a sudden disappeared or on skeleton crews, there'd be the lifeblood of our industry of the small agencies. And I think the fear for an owner like us is like, what happens if they're all gone? I mean, or like I mentioned, their skeleton crews. So it is really important. And then the great thing about the SBA loan is that it's not an extraordinary amount of money, but some of it's forgivable. And it's just that bridge for us is to be above for 2 months and able to just kind of work. We talked earlier about what we're doing to pivot and ideas to do different things. It gives us that time to take a breath and look at where is the value proposition that we could be to kind of fulfill at that point. So it's really critical, I think. Unfortunately, it's not as smooth as I think we'd all like it, even though banks, it's kind of just a complete shit show.
Sure. So, thinking about, other things agencies can be doing, we've seen so much innovation happen in the last 6 weeks. I mean, just talking for us at Adweek, I mean, we're doing this show today because of everything that's going on. And we've launched a number of other things just to try to, think about different ways we can, make an impact. So what other things can agencies, especially small agencies that have 10, 20, 40, 50 employees like, your agency, what can they be doing to pivot and come up with different revenue models right now?
Well, I think one thing, and we've talked about this a lot internally and externally, is really staying true to your lane. I mean, you don't want to, well, I'm not going to all of a sudden become a creative advertising agency. That's not what we do. But I think the advice that we give ourselves and other people is really be proactive and look what's going on. Remember that your clients are going through the same thing you are. So we're listening a lot. We're saying, oh, YouTube is launching this Learn at Home, which is a really phenomenal and highly relevant tool that could be really valuable to teachers, could be really valuable to the millions of moms and dads at home teaching their kids for the first time ever. So seeing that and then being proactive and shooting an email to your client, hey, we saw this. Here's a quick idea. I'm not going to write up a deck for you, but like, here's an idea. What do you think? Getting a gut check. I mean, we work with HBO, who's just a phenomenal partner in terms of the work that we've been able to do with them, and just as human beings. They're launching a new product coming up, and it's more of, we're not on that scope, but I said, hey, I had an idea. It's like, again, it's the idea of human to human conversations. It's like, how can a brand be a part of that? Just being proactive and shooting the right person an email saying, I had this idea, what do you think? Sometimes they're so busy that they're not thinking about that. And if it's pretty turnkey in terms of it's your agency's strong value proposition, and it'd be easy for you. So for me, it's like, how can we be proactive? And by listening to what's going on around and just shooting ideas. And it shows your dedication as a partner as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to quick turn to LinkedIn where we have a question. We have a question here that basically wants to know how you're addressing customers' uncertainty and pain points at this stage. What are you doing to think about, what Chipotle's customers need and what your other clients' customers need to help your client and also help their customers?
One of the greatest things coming out of this pandemic is things like this, where there's so much opportunity to learn and to get information, and a lot of it's free. The ANA just yesterday opened up their vault of educational tools for free for anybody in the industry. So we've really been taking advantage of that as a team, and there's some really great consumer behavior insights. So we are listening to them, I think, almost daily. Someone on our team is listening to them daily. So diffusing that information and sharing that with our clients, again, you're demonstrating incredible value to them. And it's also understanding, like I said earlier, consumerism has changed so drastically in the past 6 to 8 weeks because people are filled with anxiety. So their purchase decisions, where they're spending their money, either they're not spending their money because they're afraid, or they're spending it very specifically. Understanding that mentality is truly invaluable, I think, to any brand, whether it be how people are consuming videos on YouTube or Disney Plus or on HBO, or how they're buying food like Pizza Hut or Chipotle. So taking advantage of that. And one of the things that we're really encouraging our teams to become better marketers just by listening to all incredible opportunities that are out there right now.
Sure. And you've talked a bit about becoming better marketers. So, what are some of the tools and training that you're putting your team through to kind of maximize their skills so that when this all ends and you're able to really focus on new work every single day, what are you doing to make sure that everybody is prepared for that new future that's ahead?
I mean, well, I guess a lot. I mean, it's our day to day. It's keeping in touch with everybody, making sure that everyone's voice is heard. Like I said, there's so many tools out there right now in terms of from Harvard and Yale is offering free classes to the ANAs to tons of research companies have opportunity. So it's taking advantage of that, but then talking about it internally, like writing out a notes. And the gaming industry is completely. It has been changing, but I think with this everything is spiking because so many people are at home and looking at that industry and how is it changing. And there's a great opportunity to be a leader in terms of the industry. And I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but literally, if the credibility that you have by just stating something, it's really important. I think every marketer in the world is looking for some type of direction, like what's going to happen, where we're going. But if we're able to give them any sense of insight into that, or some type of light at the end of the tunnel, we become more and more invaluable to them as a partner. So definitely the education part, definitely the communicating part, with the anxiety and just the fear that just people in general are feeling, especially within our agency, soothing that, making them stronger, that will do more for us as a family, because just as we would do for our family in real life.
Right. So I've got another question here from LinkedIn, and it's a pretty simple one. How do you gain clients right now? So what's a tip that you can give of, you're meeting with a client that you've never dealt with before? What's key right now to make a good first impression?
A brilliant marketer friend of mine, Amy Curtis McIntyre, she told me the other day, she said one of the most important things to think about is why you, why now? Meaning, like, if you're able to go to anybody, current clients to grow the business or new clients, like, why you, why now? Why now is like, for us, it's human connection and conversation. The idea of why is that so important right now? And then why you? Why is your agency or you as a person or you as a strategic thinker, why are you the only one that can do it? I think if you go into a conversation with those kind of just simple why you, why now, and that can happen, doesn't have to be just during the pandemic. That could be your motto forever. I've been using it just as a kind of a gauge of how to start those conversations. Also, I know a lot of people in the agency side who are opening up their books and calling people they haven't talked to in forever. There's a real value in checking in and say, hey, how you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. I was just thinking about you. I mean, don't make it a hard sell, but like if you really care about these people, or I guess if you don't care about them, I mean, there's the opportunity to check in as a human to human is really valuable. I think it might not happen as fast as it usually does, but I think being a part of their conversation internally, being a tool for them to do what they do better as an individual and as a brand, is really important. And I think will get you new clients. If not right now, like I said, as this comes out, you'll be their first call.
Sure, that makes a ton of sense. So, when this is over and things have settled, do you see what shifts from right now do you see are going to become permanent in the near future?
Oh, geez. I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you that. I don't know if we're ever going to be back to the way it was. I'm hoping that brands, like you mentioned earlier, by like humanizing themselves and their teams and their agency partners, um, is there, where does I don't know, the relationships going to be different. I mean, like I said, just seeing people's homes, you get to know people on such a more intimate level that are the roles going to change? I mean, one of the things that we on the agency side have always struggled with is the client relationship versus the agency relationship, and like where does the power reside? Um, if anything, this is an opportunity to show why these agencies are, whether they be corporate, big holding companies or small, the value they deliver is so incredible. And I think also pointing out internally to if you're a brand, to your team, to saying, look, we have to treat these people, and a lot of them do. A lot of our clients are phenomenal. But we have to really look at these people as part of us, part of our extended family, as just instead of just an agency who's doing work for us. Remember that the agencies bring incredible insight that potentially you don't have when you're sitting in your corporate office dealing with politics and coming up with all the work that you have to do, which I know is incredible. But really valuing that. I think that there could be a shift. I mean, the ANAs, and as I think it's one of their responsibilities to like help the agency world and get to that balance. That would be astronomical for us as partners.
Yeah, I bet. So, One final question here. What's the one thing during all of this that has made you say, "Oh man, I wish we were doing this the whole time"? What change have you had to make that you're like, "Why haven't we been doing this already"?
I wish I was doing way more biz dev before this happened. But there's not much. I mean, really, we are we are so strong as an agency, and we really always focus on our culture and our team. I'm so happy and lucky and blessed to have them because they're making me smarter. I think I have colleagues in the industry, and we're coming together like we've never come to before. There's no sense of competition really. I mean, I get 3 or 4 calls a day from other business owners, whether they be in the event marketing side or the media side, just to talk and say, how are you dealing with this? What's going on? I love that. I would hope that continues beyond just this pandemic. And I think it's something that we as, again, leaders, and whether you're a leader now or you're a future leader, really collaborating with other people and colleagues as an industry. I think that's a good thing that's really come out of this. And I would hope that to see that continue. And it would have made us a little more, I don't know, unified if we would have done that before. But listen, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think I'm always looking to the future and figuring out new ways to kind of make our industry, make our clients, make our team members just happier and better what they do.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Brian, for joining us here on Adweek Together. Brian is the founder of RQ Agency. Up next on tomorrow's episode, we'll have executive editor Stephanie Patrick turning the tables on our I'm With the Brand host, Ian Wishengrad. He usually asks the rapid fire questions of entrepreneurs and how they built the brands. Tomorrow, we'll put Ian in the hot seat to hear how he built his brand, Three Wishes Cereal. So again, thank you, Brian, for stopping by today, and have a good one, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Adweek, for giving us the opportunity from a small agency perspective to share our story.